So lots of people know that there are ways to sort of create better custom image generation tools, using something like Allura or maybe fine tuning your own model. But when it comes to Midjourney, there isn't actually a lot of customization you can do. But one thing I do think is interesting that Midjourney has just started offering is the idea of character references or character consistency. And while this isn't exactly customization, it does allow you to kind of stay within a certain parameter of a thing you're interested in. So character consistency is essentially you generate a single character in Midjourney you like, and then you're able to keep their face or part of their face or even part of their body in new images and new scenarios. And we'll look at that now. So first off, before we get too far into this, I do have to admit you have to actually create your image directly in Midjourney. So you can't like upload an image and then use that as the consistency. Now there may be ways to get that in Midjourney by using the /describe feature in Midjourney, uploading the image as an image prompt, kind of merging those two together, but it doesn't always work that way. But you do need an image to actually start with, and that image has to be generated directly out of Midjourney in order to keep the consistency going forward throughout Midjourney. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to generate a little image here. I've been playing with cowboys a lot for some reason. So I'm just going to type in imagine, and then I'm going to put in a prompt here. So this will generate some options for us, and then we'll pick an option, and then we'll see how to play with consistency to sort of keep that image and alter it in certain ways. Okay, so I actually ran this twice because I wasn't really happy with my first set of images, so I ran it again. If we look at these, I've got a cowboy here. I kind of like this guy. He's pretty clear. I like his face. He's got some bright blue eyes, which is kind of weird. But let's start by working off of this image. So again, you have to generate one image in Midjourney, and then you can add to it or use it as a character consistency going forward. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to upres this image. So I'm going to hit U3. And then I'm just going to do upscale subtle. So I've got a nice big image we'll work with. And then once we've got it, then the next thing we're going to do is we want to make sure we grab the image URL. Okay, so here we go. We've got our upscaled image now. If I click on this, you'll see I've got my image. And if I click on open in browser, it's going to open up our image. And we just want to copy this path. This is going to be very important for when we do our next step because we need a URL to reference as we work through this. So let's go back to Midjourney now. And let's decide on a new prompt. So I've got my guy here. He's in a dusty saloon. Let's think about changing this prompt. So let's say instead /imagine a cowboy on a vacation to Disneyland, Epcot Center, daylight family photo. So I just want to try to see if I can put this guy in a different context, right? Because he's a cowboy in a saloon, that sort of thing. Let's see if I can put him in a more fun context. Next thing I want to do is I want to do --cref. This means character reference. And then I'm going to pass in my URL. So at this point, I can go ahead and return. And what I should then see is my cowboy in a new space. And from here, we'll probably talk about some different ways to tweak this image and get some different results out of it. Okay, so we've run, and if we take a look at our images, you'll see pretty good. If we compare that to this face, kind of kept the facial features. His face, is a little less square in some of these images. It's not perfect, but it's much, much better than if you were trying to do this just purely manually without using this character reference feature. But one thing you will notice is he's wearing the exact same clothes, right? He's wearing this, brown vest and this sort of dusty tan shirt. Now that's great if you want, say, if you're trying to create maybe a narrative here and you want him walking, from the saloon to Disney or something. But in some cases, you might want to actually change his outfits or you might want to change other things here. So there is a way to do that. And the way to do that is using the consistency weight. So what we can do here is let's change this prompt a little bit. So I'm just going to copy this whole prompt. And I'm just going to do /imagine. And let's paste this in here. Oops, put that in the wrong place. Let's paste this in here. And let's change our prompt here a little bit. So let's say Mickey Mouse t-shirt. And let's say what, I don't know, what else would he buy? Maybe a stuffed animal. So I want to see if I can make him really look like he's having fun when he's out with a stuffed animal and a Mickey Mouse t-shirt. We'll spell Mickey correctly. From here, we can also pass in at the very end, we'll go dash dash CW. This stands for consistency weight. Now, by default, it is set to, I believe, 100. I'll be able to check that code. It might be 1. I think it's 100, though, the way that Midjourney works, 0 to 100. So by default, it's set to 100, which means it tries to keep as much of this image consistent as possible, or at least of the person consistent as possible. But if we want to change stuff, let's drop it to 0. The goal here being that we want to keep his face details, but we kind of want to change everything else. So let's go ahead and run this now and see what our results are. All right, and that just finished. Let's take a look at it. So here you see, in this image, we still kind of have a button-down shirt, shirt sleeve now. This one's great. It gives me pretty much exactly what I want, right? It gives me Mickey, although Mickey's kind of over his belt buckle and stuff, which is kind of funny. It gives me that stuffed animal. These other two, I get a stuffed animal with a Disney shirt, maybe not Mickey. Again, I could regenerate these multiple times to try and get closer and closer where I want. Maybe I'll do some in-painting to even edit the image a little bit more. But you can see here already, just I've got the face structure pretty much the same. His hat is more or less the same, but I'm able to change out his clothing by just changing that consistency weight. So this is character consistency. It's pretty great. I mean, I found that it works fairly well. If you're trying to tell a narrative story and keep the same face across all the images, or maybe you're storyboarding stuff and you just don't want to be distracted by, you know, a guy's face changing or a character's face changing, this is a pretty helpful tool. Lastly, I do want to show that there is the character reference. I'll drop this link in the description for the video. There's a little bit more here around how consistency weight works. There is more than just 0 and 100. You could play in the middle and would keep some of the features without keeping everything. And there are also ways to merge different character references together. This is a great little example of how to play with this. And I hope you find something useful out of it. That's it for this time. See you next time. Thanks.